This is a story called The Little Monsters, chapter 133. The kids throw a massive fireworks party. The kids throw a massive bonfire and fireworks party behind their parents' backs. It's just 2 weeks until bonfire night and the kids want to have a party, but they know their parents will probably say no. Then Creeper says, "Hey guys, my parents will be away from the 3rd of November until the 8th of November, and I'm supposed to be staying at my grandma and granddad's, but it's really boring there. If it's okay with you, Kicker, once my parents have gone, I'll ring my grandparents and tell them I'm staying with you instead. I'll just visit them during the day. That way we'll be able to have our bonfire party at my house." "That's okay with me, but what about the rest of your family?" said Kicker. Excuse me. "They won't be there either," answered Creeper. "Okay, that's fine. Why don't we go and hang around outside the shops, and when anyone comes out with any fireworks and they turn their backs on them, we can take them and leave them at the hideout like we always do," said Kicker. That's a great idea, Kicker, but let's go for something to eat first. I'm hungry," said Stumpy. Everyone looked at each other and then at Stumpy and said, "You're always hungry, Stumpy." Then they all laughed and Kicker said, "Actually, guys, I'm hungry too. Come on, let's go to my house and have some dinner, then we'll go and hang around outside the shops and take some fireworks." Excuse me. Everyone laughed and then they all made their way to Kicker's house for some lunch. After lunch they went and hung around outside the shops, and every time anyone came out with any fireworks and took their eyes off them, the kids took them and hid them at their hideout. After they'd taken the first lot of fireworks to their hideout, they went back to the shops and took some more. However, a man saw them taking some fireworks and said to them, "Oi, you lot, put them fireworks back now. Before I get the police over here." The kids just laughed and carried on taking everyone else's fireworks. The man alerted a police officer, but before he could get to them, they rode off on their bikes and went to the hideout. Excuse me. When they got there, Bumpy said, "That was funny, but I say we don't go back there because they'll be watching out for us, so we best go somewhere else where no one knows us." "Bumpy's right, it would be best for us to go somewhere where no one knows who we are," said Stumpy. "You mean somewhere where there's loads of places to eat so you can stuff your face all day?" asked Grumpy. "Good idea, Grumpy, but no, that's not what I mean," answered Stumpy. Everyone laughed and Stumpy said, "What did you mean, Stumpy?" "Well, if we go to a different shopping centre where there's more shops, we'll be able to get more fireworks, and we'll be able to do it without anyone catching us and grassing us up to our parents," answered Stumpy. "Yeah, but where though?" asked Kicker. "I know, we could go to the Randall shopping park next to the Randall skate park. No one knows us there as we've never told anyone about it," said Creeper. "Yeah, I was going to say that," said Stumpy. "Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go," said Bumpy. They all got on their bikes and made their way to pick up some more bags from the hideout, and then they got back on their bikes and rode to the Randall shopping park. When they got there, they hung around the shops discreetly, of course. When anyone came out of the shops with fireworks and they turned their backs on them, the kids took them and then hid again. A few minutes later, a man and a woman came out with a shopping trolley overflowing with fireworks. The woman went to put the kids in the car, and as she was doing so, the man opened the car boot, and as he was doing so, the kids grabbed the fireworks and hid. When the man saw that his fireworks had gone, he couldn't understand what had happened to them. When he realised that they'd been nicked, he was furious, and the kids thought it was hilarious. He went back into the shop he got them from, and the staff replaced them free of charge. However, he turned his back on them again, so the kids took them again, but he managed to grab Stumpy, so Kicker kicked him really hard. Then they ran off with some of the man's fireworks, so he went and bought them again. This time he didn't take his eyes off them as his wife got out of the car and stood with him. About 5 minutes later, after they'd gone, someone else came out of the supermarket with a shopping trolley overflowing with fireworks, and when no one was looking, the kids ran up and took them all. They did the same thing a few more times, and then they took everything back to the hideout. They all wanted this party to be bigger than ever, and they decided to have a party every night whilst Creeper's parents were away. They wanted to get as many fireworks as they possibly could, so they continued to take other people's when they came out of the supermarket for about a week. After that week, they decided that they had more than enough fireworks for their party, so they started buying food and getting everything ready for the party. On the day that Creeper's parents went away, Creeper rang her grandparents, and when her grandma answered, she said to her, "Grandma, I won't be coming to stay because I'm going to stay with Kicker instead, but I will come and see you and Grandad." "That's fine, Creeper, as long as you come and see us and as long as you're okay," said Creeper's grandma. As soon as Creeper put the phone down, they all got to work preparing the food for the party. For the ingredients, they used ham, salt, vinegar, brown sauce, red sauce, chili sauce, dog food, cat food, and rabbit food. Then they went to Kicker's house as she knew all of her family were out. When they got there, Kicker took the keys to her brother's shop, and then they all went in and took loads of booze from the stock room. Then they took it all to Creeper's house. Once they dropped it all off, Grumpy said, "We're going to need more booze. Come on, let's go and hang around outside the shops and take some." Everyone made their way to the shops, and when they got there, they hid where no one would see them. When anyone came out of the shops with any booze, the kids took it when they weren't looking. As soon as they had enough for their parties, they took it all back to Creeper's. When they got there, they put some of the booze in the cellar and left the rest upstairs. Then they got to work making the punch. For the ingredients, they used 8 big bottles of very strong whiskey, 10 big bottles of very strong white wine, 10 big bottles of very strong red wine, 12 big bottles of pink gin, 15 bottles of Baileys, 13 crates of lager, 13 crates of bitter, 13 crates of cider, and 12 big bottles of cider. Once they'd finished making the punch, they put some of the fireworks near the back door. They didn't want to put them outside in case it rained and they got ruined. Once they'd done everything they needed to do and got everything ready for the first party, they had about 3 hours to spare until the party, so they went and hung around outside the shops. Whilst they were there, they took some more booze, and after about an hour and a half, they went back to Creeper's and got themselves ready for the party. At around 6 p.m. the guests started to arrive and Creeper let them in. As she did so, the nosy neighbour from across the road saw her and she came over and said to her, "I hope you aren't having a party because I wouldn't like to be you when your parents get back." "Like I care. Go away and mind your own business, you nosy old cow," said Creeper. Then Creeper shut the door in her face. Everyone laughed, went inside and the party began. After a bit, the nosy neighbour came over again and she said to Creeper, "Please end your party or I'm calling your parents, then you'll be in trouble." Creeper laughed and then said, "You can call my parents you can call my parents. You can tell my parents what you like. I don't care. And I won't end the party until I'm ready to, so go away, you nosy old bag, and don't come over here again." Then she slammed the door in her face and went back to the party. Some time later, the nosy neighbour came over again, but this time she was with her husband. However, she had her 2 grandkids staying over who were the same age as the gang, and when their grandparents weren't looking, they sneaked into the party. When their grandparents went home and realised that they weren't there, they knew exactly where they were. They went back to Creeper's, but no one answered the door. They just ignored them and turned the music up twice as loud. About half an hour later, someone saw the police pull up outside, and they shouted to Creeper, "Creeper, the police are outside." "Oh, who cares? I know I don't," said Creeper. Everyone laughed and carried on partying. The police knocked on the door for ages, but everyone just ignored them and carried on partying. After a while, they gave up and went away, and about 10 minutes later, Creeper said, "Come on outside, everyone, we're going to light the fireworks." Everyone went outside and the gang lit the fireworks and the display was lovely. Then Creeper heard a voice say, "What do you kids think you're doing, messing around with fireworks?" When she turned round, it was Dave, her dad's friend from across the road. She said to him, "Go away, Dave, and mind your own business. It's got nothing to do with you what we do. We can do as we please." You can't do as you please, not when it comes to fireworks. You kids are barely 13 years old. You should leave the dangerous stuff to the adults who know what they're doing," said Dave. "I thought I told you to go away, Dave," asked Creeper. "I'm going nowhere, and how dare you speak to me that way? Just wait until your parents get back, young lady," said Dave. With the help of the rest of the gang, Creeper managed to get rid of Dave, and once he was gone, everyone laughed and went back to partying, and Creeper lit some more fireworks. About half an hour later, the police came again, and by this time everyone was back inside, and they just ignored them and carried on partying. Eventually they went away, but not long after, a few of the neighbours came over, and they banged and banged on the door for ages, but everyone just ignored them, turned the music up and carried on partying. That first party ended about 1 o'clock in the morning. The next day when they got up, the gang cleaned Creeper's house up, but then Kicker said, "Creeper, why don't we put all the rubbish in the neighbours' bins instead of yours? That way no one can prove that we had a party here." Everyone laughed and then Creeper said, "Good idea, Kicker. Come on guys, let's do that." They all put the rubbish from the party in the neighbours' bins, discreetly of course, and then they made their way to the shops. When they got there, they hung around outside the shops, and when anyone came out with booze and fireworks, the gang took them when they weren't looking. They did this until lunchtime. Guys, can we please go for some lunch? I'm starving, said Stumpy. Everyone looked at each other and then at Stumpy and said, "You're always starving, Stumpy." Then they all laughed and Grumpy said, "I'm hungry too. Come on, let's go and get some lunch." They all laughed again and then they made their way to a cafe. After lunch they went back and hung around outside the shops and took some more booze and fireworks. However, one man caught them and he grabbed Creeper and he wouldn't let her go. So Creeper went up behind him and kicked him hard in his goalies, causing him to fall to his knees, howling in pain, much to the gang's amusement. After that, they continued to hang around outside the shops for a while longer, and then they took everything back to Creeper's. When they got there, they didn't have enough time to go back to the shops, as they needed to get everything ready for their second party. The first thing they did was the food. For the sandwiches, they used dog food, cat food, ham, rosemary, bolognese sauce, chili sauce, very strong spicy brown sauce, red sauce, salt and pepper. For the rest of the food, they used uncooked frozen chips, uncooked frozen sausage rolls, uncooked frozen pork pies, uncooked frozen baby sausages, uncooked sausages, uncooked mushy peas, uncooked frozen peas, uncooked frozen cauliflower, uncooked frozen quiche, uncooked frozen carrots, raw eggs with the shells on, raw bacon, uncooked tin tomatoes, cornflakes, uncooked porridge, uncooked ready bread, Weetabix, shredded wheat, mini shreddies, Rice Krispies, Cocoa Pops and Sugar Puffs. For the desserts, they used frozen underfrosted apple pie, frozen underfrosted cheesecake, frozen underfrosted lemon meringue pie, frozen underfrosted pavlova, frozen underfrosted strawberry gateau, and jam tarts with chili sauce and rosemary on top. Once they'd finished doing the food, they got to work making the punch. For the ingredients, they used 12 crates of very strong lager, 12 crates of very strong cider, 12 crates of very strong bitter, 12 huge bottles of Baileys, 12 huge bottles of white wine, 12 huge bottles of red wine, 12 huge bottles of sherry, 12 huge bottles of champagne, and 12 huge bottles of whiskey. When they'd finished making the punch, they went into the cellar and brought up some booze, and then they went to Kicker's house. When they got there, they took the keys to her brother's shop, let themselves in and took loads of booze from the shop floor and the stock room. Then they took it all back to Creeper's, and then they got ready for the party. At about 5:45 p.m, the guests started to arrive, and by 6:15 p.m, all 100 guests had arrived and the party got going. About an hour later, the nosy neighbour came over and told them to turn off the music and end the party. Creeper just told her to get lost, and then she slammed the door in her face. She locked and bolted the door so no one could get in. She left the keys in the doors in case anyone wanted to leave. About 20 minutes after the nosy neighbour came over, Dave, Creeper's dad's friend, came over and told Creeper to end the party, or he was calling her parents. Creeper just laughed, told him to get lost and shut the door in his face. Excuse me. When the nosy neighbour and Dave came back, everyone just ignored them, turned the music up and carried on partying. When the police came, they ignored them too. After the police went away, everyone went outside and creepily lit the fireworks. As soon as the fireworks started, the nosy neighbour and Dave came over again, and Dave said, "I thought I told you kids not to mess about with fireworks last night." "You did, but it's none of your business, Dave, so go away and leave us alone, please," said Creeper. "No, I won't go away. You kids just don't learn, do you? Have you got any idea how dangerous fireworks are?" asked Dave. "We're not stupid, Dave. We know exactly what we're doing. We have done this loads of times before, you know," said Creeper. "You must be stupid if you think that lighting fireworks and having parties is okay," said Dave. "Oh, just go away and mind your own business, Dave," said Creeper. Dave went away, but not long after the police came again. This time everyone was out in the garden watching the fireworks, and they just ignored them. Eventually they went away, and again everyone carried on partying. The nosy neighbour, Dave, and the police came back, but everyone just ignored them and they went away. The next day when the gang cleaned up Creeper's house, they put all their rubbish in the neighbours' bins. Once they'd finished cleaning Creeper's house, they went to Kicker's house and took some more booze from her brother's shop and took it back to Creeper's. Once they'd dropped it all off, they went to hang around outside the shops again. Once again they took loads of booze and fireworks. This time they managed to take more than 3 times the amount they'd taken before, and without getting caught. Once they'd taken everything back to Creeper's house, they started getting everything ready for the third party. The first thing they did was the food, using raw carrots, raw liver, raw rump steaks, raw pork chops, raw chicken legs, raw chicken drumsticks, raw chicken fillets, raw chicken joint, raw gammon steaks, raw bacon, raw eggs still in their shells, raw onions, raw sausages, raw homemade chips, raw beef joint and raw pork joint. Then they got to work making the desserts using melted ice cream, uncooked frozen apple pies, uncooked frozen lemon meringue, uncooked custard, uncooked raspberry pie with salt and vinegar on top, custard tarts with Branston pickle on top, rhubarb pie with tomato sauce and Branston pickle on top, and frozen undefrosted pavlova with salad cream on top. Then they made the punch using 12 big bottles of very strong whiskey, 12 full crates of very strong lager, 12 big bottles of Baileys, 12 crates of very strong bitter, 12 big bottles of very strong cider, 12 crates of very strong cider, 12 big bottles of sherry and 12 big bottles of champagne. Then they got themselves ready for the party, and at around 5:45 p.m. the guests began to arrive and the party got going. Once it had been going for over an hour, the nosy neighbour came over, and when Creeper looked out of the window and saw her, she opened it and told her to go away and then closed it again. Not long after, Dave came over, but no one answered the door. They just turned the music up and carried on partying. Just after Dave came over, the police came, but everyone just ignored them too. Just after they went away, everyone went outside and Creeper lit the fireworks. When the fireworks display was over with, they all went back inside. However, Just as they did so, someone knocked on the front door. Creeper looked out of the window and there was Dave, the nosy neighbour, and a few other neighbours at the door. She just ignored them, turned the music up even louder and carried on partying until about 3 a.m. when everyone went home. The next day when they cleaned Creeper's house, they put all the rubbish in the neighbours' bins again. Once they'd finished cleaning, they made their way to the shops and took some more booze and fireworks, ready for their last party that night, which was bonfire night. When they went back to Creeper's, they started getting everything ready for the party. Again, they did the food first and they used uncooked frozen chips, raw sausages, uncooked frozen sausages, uncooked frozen sausage rolls, uncooked frozen chips, uncooked baby sausages, jam sandwiches with cat food on top, marmalade sandwiches with dog food on top, raw liver and raw mince. Then they got to work making the punch using 15 crates of lager, 15 crates of bitter, 15 big bottles of very strong whiskey, 18 bottles of sherry, 15 bottles of Baileys and 15 crates of cider. Once they'd finished doing everything they needed to do, they got themselves ready for the party. By 6:15 p.m. all the guests had arrived and the party was in full swing. However, at about 10 p.m. there was a really loud knock on the front door, and when Creeper looked out the window it was her parents. She didn't care though because she was enjoying herself too much by this time. By this time the bonfire had already been lit and the fireworks were all set to be lit. As Creeper lit the fireworks, someone threw a bucket of water over them and ruined them, and when Creeper looked it was her dad and he said to her, "You're in big trouble, my girl. Now open the front door and let us in." Everyone went inside, but instead of doing as she was told, Creeper just turned the music up and everyone carried on partying. However, someone opened the window to let some fresh air in, so Creeper's dad climbed through, turned the music off and then told everyone to leave. As soon as everyone had gone, he said to the gang, What on earth were you playing at? You know not to have parties when we're away, and you know not to light fireworks and fires. Do you have any idea how dangerous that is? You could have been seriously injured or worse, killed. Who cares, Dad? We can do as we please. We're not babies anymore, said Creeper. Oh, go to bed, Creeper, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. The rest of you, your parents are outside, so go home. And you can come back tomorrow to help clean this place up, said Creeper's dad. Before he could stop them, they all ran upstairs into Creeper's bedroom and locked the door. The next day, Creeper's parents made them clean the house up. When they finished, Creeper's dad phoned all their parents, and when they arrived, the kids were all smacked hard on their bums, and Creeper's dad said, All of you kids are grounded for a month. During that time, you are not to see or ring each other during or after school. You will do extra chores for nothing, and you'll not receive any pocket money either. You have also lost your games consoles and computers for a whole month. The kids just laughed and ran out of the house to the secret hideout. Every day instead of going to school that whole month, the kids met at the hideout and then they made their way to the Randall skate park and spent every day there. I mean, if they actually did as they were told, they wouldn't be the little monsters now, would they? Let's face it, guys, it's very rare that It's very rare they do as they're told. That's why they're called the Little Monsters Gang. End of chapter 130. Hope you like it, guys. See you in the next story. Love yous. Bye.